Good evening, I'm Michael, and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Today, the Health Ministry reported that only 2 cases involved Malaysians, but the total number of new cases, well, it was far from that. Malaysia today reported the highest number of new Covid-19 cases in 5 days, with 93 cases. The spike is a result of new cases detected at 2 different clusters, one at the Bukit Jalil Immigration Detention Centre and another linked to a chicken farm in Pedas, Negeri Sembilan.
Laporan kluster Covid-19 yang aktif di Malaysia sehingga 3 Jun 2020. Kluster yang pertama ialah Depo Tahanan Immigration Bukit Jalil, ada pertambahan 55 kes dan jumlah keseluruhan ialah 338 kes. Kesemua dia melibatkan bukan warga negara. Kluster kedua ialah kluster Pedas, ada pertambahan 36 kes menjadikan jumlah keseluruhan 256 kes. Lain-lain 29 kluster tiada pertambahan kes pada hari ini.
Dr. Nur Hisham also revealed that 91 cases involved foreigners, while only 2 involved Malaysians. The 2 Malaysian cases were linked to the Tafiz school and market clusters, respectively. There were no imported cases reported today. A total of 61 patients were discharged today after recovering from COVID-19, bringing the total number of recoveries to 6,531 cases.
Seperti yang Kementerian Kesihatan sering tekankan, terdapat beberapa faktor yang menyumbang kepada penularan penyakit berjangkit di kalangan pekerja. Misalnya isu tempat penginapan, kebersihan kendiri dan juga persekitaran di tempat tinggal serta tempat kerja.
Dr. Nur Hisham urged employers to play a bigger role in curbing the spread of the disease by educating their workers on maintaining good hygiene and by providing safe living quarters, which would allow social distancing to take place. Will the CMCO be extended? The government hasn't decided on that yet, but Kuala Langat has been placed under a semi-enhanced MCO. Kuala Langat is under the Semi-Enhanced Movement Control Order. Locals will be required to undergo COVID-19 testing at entry points. However, they will be allowed to go in and out of the area.
Saya dah sebutkan bahawa PKPD dia ada 2. Yang pertama PKPD yang kita telah laksanakan seperti di Selangor Mansion, di Pasar Borong, Selayang dan sebagainya. Yang keduanya PKP yang dilaksanakan secara pentadbiran. PKPD juga seperti PKPD tetapi dilaksanakan secara pentadbiran.
Ismail explained that for an area under the semi-enhanced MCO, it may be fenced with barbed wires, but the residents have to undergo screening tests before coming in and out of the area. He added that the authorities would conduct screening for all residents in the area. Earlier today, Malaysia Kini reported that Taman Langat Utama and Taman Langat Murni in Bukit Changang have been placed under the enhanced MCO since yesterday. The residents in those areas consisted of locals and foreigners. The semi-enhanced MCO is believed to be related to the discovery of 28 cases, mostly involving workers at a cleaning company that serves the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Meanwhile, Ismail also said there's no issue for non-Muslims to cross state lines to register their marriage.
Ya, bagi yang bukan Islam, sejak PKPB dilaksanakan, PKPB kita telah pun membenarkan mereka mendaftar perkahwinan. Cuma jumlahnya hanya 4 orang saja, iaitu pengantin lelaki, pengantin perempuan dan 2 saksi. Itu saja. Dan memang kita benarkan.
Asked on the possibility of the MCO extension, Ismail said so far there have been no discussions on the matter.
Ya, seperti biasa, setiap kali kita menyambung, kita akan membuat pengumuman. Setakat hari ini kita belum tahu lagi kerana belum ada perbincangan untuk sambung atau tak sambung. Once keputusan dah dibuat, kita akan umumkan. Sambung pun kita umum, tak sambung pun kita umum. Jadi tunggulah apabila pengumuman itu dibuat nanti.
The current conditional MCO is expected to be lifted on June 9th. Anwar Ibrahim wants the government to introduce tougher laws against drunk drivers. However, he says that could only be done through Parliament. Opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim today urged the Perikatan Nasional Federal Government to speed up the amendments on laws penalising driving under the influence. Speaking in a Facebook Live session this afternoon, Anwar said the existing punishments provided under the Road Transport Act does not suffice.
Dia di barat pun ada, tidak boleh memandu tatkala minum. walaupun tidak mabuk, kerana kemungkinan bahaya itu ada. Jadi oleh demikian kita harus perketatkan undang-undang. Ada cadangan kerajaan sekarang menyusuli apa yang dicadangkan oleh kerajaan Pakatan Harapan sebelumnya supaya diperketatkan undang-undang.
But for this to happen, Anwar said Parliament must convene.
Dan saya fikir masalahnya sekarang ini ialah Parlimen tidak bersidang. Kadang-kadang orang nak tanya ini jawapan dia. Ya. Bagaimana kita kata, mengapa kita desak Parlimen harus bersidang segera. Kalau ada akta pengangkutan jalan mau dipindah, nak hukum pemabuk yang tak terkala memandu. Bagaimana kita nak hukum dan undang-undang baru hanya dengan kelulusan Parlimen.
Anwar, who is Speaker, President and Chairperson of Pakatan Harapan, was commenting on recent incidents which saw innocent road users killed in accidents which were caused by drunk drivers. These incidents had reignited public debate on punishment for drunk drivers and have seen mounting calls for the government to introduce heavier sentences for those found guilty of such offences. Under the existing provisions of the Road Transport Act, a person found guilty of driving under the influence faces jail sentence of not more than 12 months and a fine between 1,000 ringgit and 6,000 ringgit. The Sultan of Johor has a message for politicians in the state who are putting their parties and themselves ahead of the state and its people. Johor ruler Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar said he will dissolve the State Assembly should there be another power struggle in the state. In a statement today, the Sultan said he will give the opportunity to the people of Johor to decide on their new elected representatives, and he said he hoped this time they will pick those who truly want to serve the people and the state, not their party and themselves. Article 23(2) of the Johor State Constitution states that the Sultan has the power to dissolve the State Assembly. However, Article 7(1) of the Constitution states that the ruler, in exercising his functions, must act on the advice of the state government. Article 7(2)(b) states that the Sultan may act in his discretion to withhold consent for the dissolution of the State Assembly. Johor Pakatan Harapan claims that they have the numbers to seize back the state after Perikatan Nasional took over in February. Speculation is that Harapan will secure Bersatu Assembly persons who want to cross over from PN. PN has just 29 state seats in Johor against 27 from Harapan. A single defection from PN would cause a hung assembly. Sultan Ibrahim said he was very disappointed with the current political crisis in the state when there are power-crazed leaders and a squabble over positions for self-interest. He said these leaders were only adding to the people's hardships amid trying times in reference to the Covid-19 pandemic. Perikatan had come to power in February after Bersatu President Muhyiddin Yassin, who is also the Gambar Assembly person, took his party out of Harapan. Judging by UMNO leader Zaid Hamidi's Facebook post, the party is looking forward to facing GE15. Has UMNO formed a dream team strong enough to face the 15th general election? Party President Ahmad Zaid Hamidi has expressed optimism after receiving an entourage headed by former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak at his home last night. Following the meeting with Najib, Zaid signalled the party's readiness to face the next general election and asked his Facebook followers whether they were ready to be with the party. Zaid's remarks came as the tussle for Putrajaya intensified, with Pakatan Harapan Dr. Mahathir and Warisan claiming to have enough support to snatch the reins of the federal government back from Perikatan Nasional. Perikatan had seized power in March after Muhyiddin Yassin took Bersatu out of Harapan to form a new alliance with PAS, BN and GPS with the support of Azmin Ali and his faction from PKR. Commenting on Zaid's post, Bersatu Supreme Council member Eka Rijasan questioned if it meant UMNO was planning to trigger snap polls. If Muhyiddin loses the majority, he must resign if the Agung does not consent for Parliament to be dissolved. Mahathir, who is battling Muhyiddin for control over Bersatu, has said that the party will face its demise in the next general election if it does not return to Harapan. This is because it is unlikely that UMNO and PAS would give up seats for Bersatu to contest. Coming up next, protests in the US have left several law enforcement officers injured by gunfire. It may have started as peaceful protests in the memory of George Floyd, but it has taken a violent twist in some cities, with police officers even being shot. Tens of thousands of people took to the streets of US cities on Tuesday for the 8th consecutive night of protests over the death of George Floyd in police custody, clashing with police and looting stores in New York City. Large marches and rallies also took place in Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Atlanta and Seattle. The night before, at least 5 police officers across the US were injured by gunfire as protesters turned increasingly dangerous to both cops and civilians. The chief of the Las Vegas Police Department said officers confronted protesters outside a casino, where one of his officers was shot in the head.
Officers were attempting to get some of the protesters in custody when a shot rang out and our officer went down. The officer was transported to University Medical Center in critical condition.
The police chief said a suspect was identified and taken into custody. In another incident on Monday, Vegas police shot and killed a man they said approached officers outside a federal building.
At approximately 11:22 p.m., officers encountered a subject who was armed with multiple firearms and appeared to be wearing body armor. During the interaction, the subject reached for his firearm and officers engaged him.
In Missouri, 4 officers were wounded by gunfire on Monday night. The city's chief of police made a tearful plea for calm.
Some coward fired shots at officers, and now we have 4 in the hospital. But thankfully, and thank God, they're alive. They're alive. But can we make some sense out of this? Can we make some sense out of this? That's all I'm trying to say. Mr. Floyd's death is tragic, but can we make something out of something?
Although rallies on behalf of George Floyd and other victims of police brutality have been largely peaceful during the day, after dark each night crowds have turned to rioting, vandalism, arson and looting. Outside the US Capitol building on Tuesday afternoon, a throng took to one knee, chanting "Silence is violence" and "No justice, no peace," as officers faced them just before the government-imposed curfew. US President Donald Trump has vowed to crack down on what he has called lawlessness by hoodlums and thugs, using the National Guard or even the US military if necessary. Dozens of National Guard troops lined up on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial behind black crowd control barriers. The head of the US National Guard said on Tuesday 18,000 Guard members were assisting local law enforcement in 29 states. The Pentagon said it has moved 1,600 US Army troops into the Washington, D.C. region. France banned a planned demonstration in Paris, but that didn't stop people from gathering. As riots raged on in the United States over racial injustice, police in France have taken precautionary action by banning a planned demonstration in Paris, which was to honor the memory of Adama Traoré, a 24-year-old black Frenchman who died in a 2016 police operation which have been linked to the death of George Floyd in the United States. But that did little to stop demonstrators on Tuesday who took to the streets of the French capital to make their voices heard. Prompting police with riot gear to push protesters back with tear gas. The scene was a throwback to the demonstrations that broke out in France in 2016 after Traoré died while being driven to a police station following his arrest. The Paris Police Department said in a statement that there were risks of social disorder and health dangers from large gatherings due to the coronavirus pandemic. The demonstration had drawn attention on social media in France from those supporting the Black Lives Matter movement and backing protests in the United States. Many of the demonstrators in Paris held up signs and placards bearing the same slogan. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Michael. Thank you for watching.